In the shadowed corners of comic book lore, two names stir both fear and fascination: Frank Castle, better known as the Punisher, and Jason Todd, the Red Hood. Each is a relentless vigilante shaped by personal tragedy, wielding firearms and ferocity in their war on crime. Both men ride the razor's edge between justice and vengeance, but only one can be considered the superior vigilante. Frank Castle's story is one of loss and aftermath. Once a decorated Marine, Castle's world ended the day his family was massacred as collateral damage in a mob war. From their graves, the Punisher was born a force of retribution, whose war became endless. Castle possesses a military mind honed by years of training, master tactician capable of adapting to almost any urban battlefield. His methods are brutal and uncompromising. Those he deems guilty rarely see a second sunrise. The Punisher's arsenal is legendary, a collection of rifles, handguns, explosives, and even the occasional tank or helicopter. But Castle's deadliest weapon is his resolve. He'll infiltrate, investigate, ambush, and if need be, become as unrelenting and implacable as death itself. Standing in contrast is Jason Todd, the second Robin, who once patrolled Gotham City's rooftops in the shadow of the Batman. Todd's story runs parallel to Castle's, a brutal intervention from fate. As he was murdered by the Joker only to be resurrected, consumed by a blend of trauma and fury, when he assumed the mantle of the Red Hood, Jason Todd cast aside Batman's strict code against killing. He became a lethal vigilante, using his acrobatics, detective skills, and proficiency with both firearms and hand-to-hand combat to dismantle Gotham's criminal underworld. Red Hood is tactical, unpredictable, and almost theatrical, sending a message with every takedown. Both men share a willingness to cross lines that others will not. But beneath these similarities are critical differences that define their approaches. For the Punisher, the war on crime is solitary and ruthless. He acts as judge, jury, and executioner, moving through the criminal ecosystem like a natural disaster. Castle's background gives him a clarity of purpose. He targets only those beyond redemption. Tactically dismantling organizations from within, he shows little concern for redemption or morality. For him, the eradication of evil is salvation enough. His sense of right and wrong is clear-cut, with no patience for gray areas. Even his allies often find themselves at odds with his extreme measures. Red Hood, meanwhile, operates in a world saturated with ambiguity. Jason Todd understands pain, vulnerability, and the allure of darkness, having once been on both sides. He employs manipulation, infiltration, and fear, using his knowledge of both criminals and heroes to his advantage. Where Castle sees only the enemy, Todd sees competition, potential, or misguided souls. Though his methods are brutal, there is often a sliver of hope and insistence that people can, and should, make better choices, even if he often enforces these changes at gunpoint. In terms of skill set, the Punisher's strengths lie in military discipline and guerrilla warfare. He is methodical, outlasting his foes with superior logistics and planning. Whether facing mob bosses or superpowered adversaries, his resourcefulness keeps him alive and effective, often against impossible odds. Red Hood's greatest asset is versatility. Raised by Batman, trained by the League of Assassins, and reborn with new tenacity, Jason pairs close-quarters lethality with tactical intelligence. He's as comfortable hacking networks as he is orchestrating ambush, capable of blending into criminal networks. Then striking with surgical precision. Unlike Castle, Red Hood often interacts with, and sometimes leads, other vigilantes, his charisma allowing him to shape events beyond simple bloodshed. Morally, the two diverge sharply. Castle's singular focus makes him uncompromising and, in many eyes, unyielding. While he inspires terror in his enemies, he often alienates those on his side. There are no shades of gray in Frank Castle's world. Jason Todd, on the other hand, embodies the messy reality of vigilante justice. He questions, doubts, and sometimes falters, which makes him both more relatable and more dangerous. His willingness to adapt it to sometimes show mercy provides complexity to his brand of justice. So who is the better vigilante? If the measure is sheer efficiency in eliminating crime, Frank Castle's relentless crusade stands nearly peerless. There are few who can match his tactical prowess, his stamina, and his willingness to do what others will not. However, if true vigilance is about effecting lasting change, about shifting the axis of an entire city, about inspiring both fear and hope, Red Hood's layered approach offers more. Jason Todd's resilience, strategic cunning, willingness to challenge both crime and the systems that breed it make him perhaps the more effective force in the long run. Ultimately, the answer hinges on one's definition of better. The Punisher is the unstoppable storm, righteous and cleansing, but often indiscriminate. Red Hood is the calculated rebellion, messy, adaptive, and capable of reshaping the world around him. Each has carved a legacy into the shadows they haunt. But in the ever-evolving struggle between crime and justice, it is perhaps Red Hood who represents vigilantism's future of force, unafraid to balance the darkness within and the hope for redemption.